Hello, hi everyone. This is Mitali Dhar, and I welcome you to our very first episode of Alumni Talks with Hamstick. In this series, we aim to bring alumni who are associated with Hamstick and who have shown their tremendous work and inspired people like you watching us today. In today's episode, we are joined by our alumni from batch 2009. She has studied interior designing with us and has shown her presence not only in India but globally. She has been recognized by IIIT HRC thrice in Hyderabad chapter and has won 2 national awards. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are being joined by our alumni from 2009 batch, Vindhya Rao. Hi, hello Vindhya. Welcome to our very first episode of Alumni Talks with Hamstick.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
So you have come back to Hamstick after 15 years. And if I talk about interior designing as such as a profession, 15 years back or 20 years back, it was not a very popular choice among people in India specifically, and among girls, if I talk about. How come you decided to become an interior designer?
So, Mitali, my journey with interior design started after completing 4 years of my engineering. So, I did my engineering at Srinidhi Institute of Technology. And towards the end of my engineering, of course, the most obvious choice was to do your master's. But I was in two minds. I requested my mom for a break here, and then with all the hesitation in the world, she said, okay. And in that 1 year, I just wanted to do something I was truly passionate about and something that meant a lot to me. And that's how I started off with interior design. I uh, found out about Hamstick through a friend,
Okay.
and then that's how it started.
So when you made this shift from engineering to interior designing, when you told your parents, what was their reaction?
Of course, they were unhappy. My mother, she was so disappointed in me. I think she always wanted me to be a doctor and my sister to be an engineer. Of course, my sister did not pick either of the options, and she at least had some hopes on me. And of course, she was extremely disappointed, but I think now she's extremely happy. So I think that's inevitable. Parents, it takes a lot of convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned about your family, um, any particular person or event that was an inspiration in your this change and switch of career?
So, inspiration to me always has been my father. So, my father, he was an engineer
Okay.
and he was into heavy metal engineering, construction, and all of that. Um, had nothing to do with interior design professionally. He had his business extremely successful at what he did, but he was extremely passionate about interior design. So I grew up looking at that. Both my parents are art lovers, they were art collectors, and if they saw something on the road, like I remember we were driving from Guntur and coming to Hyderabad, and on the road we saw the stone craft. It is called Durgi stone craft. They loved what they saw, and our car was filled with how many ever pieces we could get them. And everybody else, like if there's a Diwali party, there's someone's getting married, everyone gets
Something out of
something from the stone craft. So I think my parents really admired art, and I grew up in a house where we gave a lot of importance to the aesthetics. So I think that obviously gives you that kind of an inclination. But it was never a subject, it was never a career back then. I just grew up looking at that and enjoying it.
So let's talk about your journey at Hamstick. How was your experience studying there and getting exposure to a new world that was interior designing?
So, first of all, I was on cloud nine the minute I got permission from my mother, because she was extremely hesitant. She just did not want me to do this. So, the minute she said, okay, irrespective of all the hesitation. I was elated, like I was happy to learn. So when I went to Hamstech, I was so impressed with. I was excited and I was very impressed with the faculty. So easy to work with. You didn't have that feeling of they are like teachers and you have to respect them, and they're very like
It felt like
very,
you're
yeah,
getting knowledge from your own friend or
yeah,
something.
something like that. May not be friends, but then just a senior who wants to teach you. And it was like that, and it was very interactive. And that's one thing I absolutely loved. And another very important factor about Hamsteak to me was the exposure to the real time world. So, we attended a lot of seminars
Okay.
that were conducted by Triple ID HRC, and we attended a lot of talks. And at that time, the most prominent designers would talk about their work, share their their insights, and talk about the bad things that they faced, all of that. I think that kind of exposure is very much necessary. It's never about the subject or the technical knowledge. Of course, you need to have all of that, but I think that that extra layer of exposure is what I benefited the most from.
So, in those 12 months, the subjects that were taught, the courses that were taught, do you think that matched the standard that was required in, like, outside in the market?
So, knowledge base wise, curriculum wise, I think the 11-month course was perfect for me. I just had so much time and I wanted to learn it all and just be prepared. And, if I had to execute a project or take up a project, I just needed that knowledge. And I think uh, could I think I got everything I would have wanted from the course. Subject wise, see, the most important thing when you're a designer is learning how to present your design. So that was a very important part. We've learned that. And the software skills, the technical backing, extremely important. We had wonderful, I think I remember his name even now. I remember who taught us AutoCAD. Wonderful person. So those subjects help me even today. So it's not enough to be creative. You should be able to present your creativity, and for that you need technical knowledge. For that you need a good amount of, I want to say, subject knowledge and backing. So all of that, I think 11-month time period was more than enough for me.
So, those who are watching us right now, I would like to tell them that Hamstech organizes a lot of events in house, and they do send their students outside to participate and present their work. So, did you also took part in those events or ever got exposed to such kind of environment?
So yeah, I did attend events. Uh, so although I was into interior design, we were exposed to what the fashion design team did. So we did go attend all of the events which were related to clothing and all of that. We had fashion shows that we would attend, and it's just exposure. You're meeting so many people, you're collaborating. So all of that is wonderful. And coming to the interior design part of it, like I mentioned, we had wonderful architects like Mr. Gururaj Manepalli. We had Mrs. Supraja Rao. Some of these names, I mean, I've grown up looking at them and I love their work. So we were on a day to day basis having exposure to all of these people talking about their work. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? These events are very meaningful, helpful, and I think one should You know, any sub, that's what I feel, you know, when we study our 10th grade engineering, no matter what we do, we are only looking at the book knowledge. We are not really thinking of how it's being implemented. So I think
That practical touch is
yeah, the
required.
practical touch, so it's a great combination of both. So you are learning and then you know how it is being implemented. So I think it's wonderful, right? You
Yeah.
know what you're going to do with this
Yeah.
textbook full of content,
Where you can put it.
where you can put it. So yeah, that way it was great.
So the guests that you mentioned, that Hamstech was bringing people from the industry to tell their students that all these things are happening in the industry. Did that help in leveling up the book knowledge that you're talking
Absolutely,
about?
absolutely. So Hamstack encouraged us to attend these events by Triple ID,
Okay.
and that's where the speakers would come and talk. So we would attend these events organized by Triple ID, and Triple ID, of course, had good connections with Hamstack, and of course, amazing exposure to the real world.
So, if we talk about when you graduated and you completed your course with Hamstech, so the knowledge that you gained in those 11 to 12 months, um, how did you put it into practice when you came out? Was there any difference you saw? Like what was taught in the class? Was it exactly what was expected outside in the market?
Yes and no, because real-time world, when you're actually working on projects, your learning starts there. So all that you've learned will keep coming to you as and when you start executing projects. So yeah, I mean, there were parts of it where there was content from what you've learned where you're directly using, and then sometimes it's indirectly, you're actually, oh yeah, I've learned that, let me implement it, kind of a thing. Standards, using certain metrics, all of that, yeah, we definitely use on a day-to-day basis. So
So in Hamstech, when you joined and you did those 11 to 12 months course, and when you graduated, did you see any personal or professional development in you by the end of the time you?
yes, definitely yes. Exposure to these architects and interior designers in real time world definitely gives you a benefit, both professionally and personally. And you know, interior design is a line where it's not about the subject. You're not sitting behind a computer and just coding it, or it's not like an IT job where you know you don't have any connection to the end client. You have to build your personal skills. I mean, you have to, communication is important, so many other things are important. So personally, of course, there's a lot of learning that happens, and there's a lot of improvement, skill building that needs to happen, and that definitely has happened.
So if you talk about skill right now, which one skill do you think one interior designer should have or should develop over the period?
Clarity in communication. Without clarity in communication, no amount of technical backing, no amount of, you could be the most creative person, but if you're not able to communicate that well to your client or whoever you're interacting with, what is the point? So, good communication is definitely the one thing that is.
And one can learn it over the
Yes, you
years
can
and
improve on that skill. Nobody starts off being a great communicator. It's something you build over time.
so, what challenges did you face when you went out in the industry for the first time? You kept your first step. What were the challenges? We'll talk about the success part later, but what challenges you faced that time?
It's a very interesting question because there's so many challenges. Um, so, challenges wise, so I started off thinking, okay, perfect. I'm going to give the most perfect designs and it will get executed. Of course not. I mean, it doesn't happen like that. Practical challenges are like the most common thing in any, of course it's challenges are inevitable in any industry, but especially in the design industry, I think on a day to day basis you have a lot of challenges that you have to face. but it's all about facing them gracefully, solving them gracefully without letting those problems get to you. So that's a skill that you develop over time. So, specifically challenges, I think sometimes you have to educate the client. Especially 15 years back, they were not really familiar, or they were not really open to a designer coming and designing your house. They just wanted, like, they didn't know what interior design really entails. So, and that happens even today. I have a lot of people I interact with, they just don't understand. It's not copy paste, and it's not, doesn't work like that. It is a cumbersome process. It needs a lot of time, effort, energy, money from both sides. It's not only my time and energy, the client also has to put in, give their inputs. They need to be patient. So it's a process, and that getting all of this together is a huge challenge by itself.
Yeah, and I feel like you have very gracefully learned from these challenges, and now that you have your own firm, why don't we talk about it? Uh, how did you come up with an idea that you want to have your own firm and you didn't decide of working under someone else?
So I did work with a few people. I did collaborate with a few people. Most of my collaborations have been with my mentors,
Okay.
or people who I heard talk. So I always tend to collaborate with people where I have the opportunity to learn. So let's say I'm designing a project, I get it executed by somebody who is a pro, who is good at it. Of course, I've made mistakes where I thought, okay, let me just give the project to somebody else to execute, and they have a great portfolio. But that doesn't work like that, because um, there are, I mean, it's very difficult to tell you all of that, but it's very important that you judge uh, your potential partners very carefully. So, that being said, I have, coming back to partnering, I have partnered with some really great people who are in the industry, and that helped me a lot.
And how come you decided that you want to have your own firm finally?
I was very clear at the beginning that I always wanted to have my own firm. Just because I can't do it on day one, I worked with others, partnered with others, learned, collaborated. But eventually, I knew I wanted to have my own firm. I was very clear about it from day one.
So why don't we talk about this firm? Where is it? How long it's been? How has the journey been so far?
So, we take up a variety of projects, both commercial and residential. Mostly residential, because I personally am inclined to residential projects. Um, so we take up projects. For example, I could have a client that says, "I want a house that's all modern, contemporary, plain white," and yes, so that's what they get. And on the other end of the spectrum, I have somebody else who could come to me and say, I want something that's handmade. It should be all about the Indian heritage and all of that. So we work on a variety of projects, and I think that's what makes it interesting. It is a labor of love, it's a lot of effort, and a lot of endurance, patience, time, all of that goes into it. And yeah, we're very happy to be working and collaborating with CCT, Craft Council of Telangana,
Okay.
where they have
So the firm is based out of Hyderabad or
it
Telangana?
is not based out of Hyderabad, it is based in the US.
Okay.
And we do take up projects in Hyderabad as well.
Okay.
So we, coming back to the CCT,
Yes.
Craft Council of Telangana, they basically work very closely with artists, and if we want anything to be custom, or we want any art form to be made for us, they do it for us. And we work with all of these artists who come from a family, very rich family heritage.
Okay.
So this is art forms So the project that won us the award actually is a project where we wanted to revive Indian artifacts and handmade items which have been forgotten. So we've used Toluba Malata. I don't
Okay.
know if you've heard of it,
Yeah.
but it's leather puppetry. So we've used the craft in our project. We've used Durgi stone craft. We've used Bidri work. We've used a lot of such art forms which have been forgotten. And very importantly, I think my firm definitely we want to bring them back and see what we can do with it.
So, if I talk about your style, what is your style in interior designing? Everyone has a specialization. What is your specialization in it?
I think my style or my specialization is all about making the home look warm. It is not about how the place looks, but it's more about how it feels. So I give a lot of importance to that, and I use a lot of greenery in my projects because it really calms your mind. I use drapes a lot. I mean, anyone who are listening to this podcast, and if I've worked on their houses, they'll know how much importance I give to drapes and window treatments. I just love how fabric plays a huge role, how it can impact and change the entire space. It brings in that warm element into your space. So these are some of the things that I love to implement, like earth elements, lot of I wouldn't use the word wabi sabi, but anything that's imperfect, anything that's handmade, anything that's natural, that's something I'm inclined to.
So, studying in India and moving to another country altogether and starting up your own business there, how difficult was the switch?
So I think I wouldn't say it was difficult or not difficult. I mean, it would have been the same effort here also. Um, the switch wasn't really difficult for me. I think it was doable.
But if you talk about the style, so the style in India that people prefer in their own houses or maybe like restaurants and cafes, if you talk about that and the style that people prefer outside, it's very different. So you might have faced some switch issue or like some challenges ki, oh, I am in a different country now, I need to think in a certain way now.
So you have different types of clients anywhere. Even here in India, you could have clients wanting modern aesthetic and some wanting a completely moderate aesthetic, someone wanting
If you can give an example.
purely Indian aesthetic.
Yeah.
And you can have the same kind of clientele in the US also. So that from that perspective, it's not very different.
So 15 years has been a very long journey. So what you learned 15 years back, how are you, like it's been said that you have to keep yourself up to date with market, what is the trend
Yeah.
and all. So how do you maintain to be updated with the trend and the needs and desires of the clients?
So I think when you love what you do, without knowledge, you're actually keeping up with the trends. You know, it's not like you read the newspaper and you're trying to keep up with something. No, I mean, you know, very naturally you're like, oh, so this is in, oh, that's out, that's beautiful, that's something that came up and it's new and wonderful, why can't I use it in my project and something. So keeping up with the trends is never, it's not like it's not a task that we need to do. It's just something that we all tend to keep up with, just like, you know, clothes. I mean, you just tend to wear something that you like, and it's not like, it's not very planned or anything, right? So it's the same thing with design as well. Your client has to nominate you.
Okay.
Following that, there were a series of interviews from the judges, and they were extremely recognized judges. Um, And for me, they were 2 a.m., 3 a.m. calls because of the time difference.
Yeah.
But we were mainly asked to talk about our work, share our profile. It was not one particular project. Of course, they're judging you based on one project, but you have to kind of show your entire portfolio, talk about your work, what you want to do, what your future goals are, and all of that. So we did have a quite elaborate interview process over the phone.
So, as you mentioned about your award back then, I have been told that you have recently received a national award for most prestigious, most promising interior designer. Firstly, congratulations on behalf of Hamstick. Um,
The next award goes to Vindhya Rao Design Studio. May I now call upon Vindhya Rao on stage for the most promising and futuristic interior design firm of the year 2024 from Telangana under Premium Residential Projects. Ms. Vindhya is also selected to receive the Elite Trendsetter and Creative Interior Designer of the Year 2024. Congratulations.
Tell us more about this award. How did you get selected for it? What project you worked on which helped you win this award?
So the project that brought us this award was all about reviving old Indian heritage art forms, and it was all about bringing back craftsmanship. And we were able to collaborate with craftsmen from all over the country, not just from Telangana. And it was a true labor of love. It was a collaboration in its true sense, because I would give them the designs, they would give me their input in the designs, and we've come up with such beautiful work. And I think that was extremely enduring, and it was a wonderful process. So the project was, all in all, to say, just recognizing that India is filled with history, heritage, and it's time for us to kind of bring it back.
So, as we talk, and we have had a very long conversation over the past hour, and so you have mentioned and talked a lot about bringing back the heritage and showing what the true Indian culture is to the whole world. How come you developed this interest towards?
I think it happened very organically. Like I said, I did not even know that I was collecting all of these art forms. I just, whenever I liked something that was handmade, I would just buy it and keep it with me. So when I worked with an artist, or when I bought something from an artist, there's a little bit of a connection that I tend to build with them. It's not like I'm buying something from you. I'm asking them about the work, the effort they put in, about their family history, what their challenges are on a day-to-day basis. We've almost became friends, So that's the kind of collaboration we had. So when something like this happens, you automatically tend to get so much more involved in the process, and it builds your interest levels. So that's how it all started.
So when we were talking earlier, and we were talking about your journey, how about the switch that you had early in your life, and you share one of the instances where your parents were driving back, and they liked some art form and they picked it up. Has it happened with you also? And you
Yeah.
somehow discovered?
Yeah, and that's the case with Tolubo Malata, the
Okay.
leather puppetry. So the person that I work with, he's from Nirmal Kunta village. Such a wonderful person. So his entire family, they all work together. It's actually sad that we do not recognize these art forms enough. They are having to, struggle so much to showcase their work. I think it's our job to actually bring it all the visibility that it needs, give it the visibility that it needs. So yeah, so so it's happened with him, where I bought so much of his work and I have it all over my house, and every time there's somebody's wedding or something like that, I'm giving it to them, and they are excited because there's so much history to it. It's just not a gift. There's so much more to um, gifting. There's so much meaning to it. There's history, and he's from a family, um, 4 or 5 generations they've been doing the craft, and working with them is wonderful. So I think I do inherit all of those inherit all of that from my parents.
So we have talked so much about your project. We have got insights about how you won this national recognition with this award. Why don't we talk about the projects in general that you have done? I have been told that you have done over 40 plus projects over the years. How did the journey begin?
Okay, so my journey as such started, it was very interesting because I was waiting to design. So when we first got our apartment in the US, usually people take all the time in the world to buy a permanent house and then design it. I didn't really want to wait. You give me 4 walls, I'm happy to design. So when I moved into my first apartment, it was all done up. I sourced things from India. I was very picky about the furniture I picked. I've tried so many different things. So that's how it started, my journey. And then as we moved from house to house, the design scheme changed. I wanted to do something completely different from what I did previously. And very organically, I had so many people come to me and ask me to design their houses. So even in my friends circle, I would have designed so many of their houses. And typically what happens in the US is all of my friends, I design their houses, and then they buy an apartment or a house in India. I design all of them. They have siblings or their parents move into a different house. I design all of them. So my networking was very organic. I will not have an online presence. It's funny how people can search for me and you will not find me. I'm not at all a social media person. In fact, I don't even have a proper personal Instagram account. I probably created one long back and forgot the password. So that's that's my social media standards. But yes, so it's been very organic. My projects have been very organic, and all of them come to me um, with with a vision. And my job, I think, is to give that vision a reality.
So, in this time where people are using technology to build their network, to do marketing, and to showcase their work, you decided to like go old school. So, do you think that decision has somewhere been a challenge in your journey?
Personally, not at all. I'm very happy with the work that I get, very happy with the work that I do. Well, I know a lot of people tell me this. They're like, you have to go online, you have to, um, you know, um, be more visible, which I understand, and probably that's something I will eventually do. But as of now, I'm very happy and content with my work and my projects and all of that.
And if you talk about your work and projects, what are your future goals with respect to your work? And personally, also, you have been recognized nationally by 4 to 5 different awards. So, what next for you now?
So, when you start working without your knowledge, you grow interest in certain areas. And so, in the last few years, I've been working very closely with the artists, like I mentioned. Um, I have this huge respect for all the craftsmen, and I think my goal would be to focus on that area to make the crafts, the Indian crafts, more visible, give them limelight, use them in our projects. And I am currently trying to work on a product line. Of course, we'll have to look at sustainability and all of that. I'm working on a product line. I've been working with the craftsmen from Etikopika village, and we are building some products. So that's what I see, and that's what I envision.
And to be very honest, it is a great vision. If you, while you are saying it, I can picture things happening like that, and how Indian heritage and Indian culture is reaching out to each and every corner in the world. You have given insight to us about your first project and how you build up your own network and managed to get so many orders, and which end up giving you a national recognition. Why don't we talk about one of the most interesting projects that you have got?
So one of my most interesting projects is actually a conceptual project. We were asked to design a space, keeping in mind 100 years from now, 200 years from now, um, people will end up staying in little cubicles.
Okay.
So how would you design that? That was the challenge. So I think that was the most interesting project because they gave us extremely strict dimensions. They were like, imagine living in an 8 feet by 8 feet by 12 feet space. So, and then this project actually brings a different side in you. You're not thinking of elaborate, beautiful things, and you're not thinking about handicrafts and using art. It's a very different way of thinking. So it was all about multi-utility. It was all about storage, and how well your 8 by 12 feet space was planned. And we wanted to, in our project, we wanted to use the volume, because we didn't have square footage. We wanted to use the volume and made use of the volume for storage. And we used a lot of glass to allow ventilation in, ventilation out. So
And how
that,
long it took you to actually design this?
so this was a competition, and we had to do it within I think 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that was the conceptual project that won me an award.
So, as we talk today, and we actually had an overview of your journey of 15 years altogether. 15 years back, you entered Hamstead as a student who was not exposed to uh, interior designing, and today you have come back to Hamstead again as our guest. How do you feel?
I think it feels amazing and it feels surreal to be back here. Actually, now that you're saying it's 15 years, now I'm thinking, oh my God, it's been so long. But for me, in my mind, I don't feel, the journey has been so long, because when you're designing and when you're doing something creative, time just flies. So, but otherwise, I think it feels amazing. And it also feels amazing that we're doing this interview here at Peacock Life, because this happens to be one of my absolute favorite stores.
As we come to the end of this session, which I don't want to end, and we know we are short of time now. Before we end, I would like to ask a message that you want to give to our budding interior designers and people who are interested and are looking forward to show their work to everyone in the industry. What would you like to say to them?
I think your subject knowledge is very important. You need to have a good technical backing. That's a given. Without that, you're no one. And over that, you have to build on your communication skills. You need to be able to present your ideas well. You should be able to build relationships and form a community, take help, help others. And I think that's a good way to go.
It was an absolute pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here today, and talking to our viewers and sharing your experience. It was absolutely an honor. Best of luck for your future.
Thank you so very much. It was wonderful talking to you. It's been an honor for me as well to be here and to be interacting with you.
So this was our alumni, Vindhya Rao. I hope you enjoyed our podcast, Alumni Talks with Hamstech. We'll be bringing more guests with you in future, and we'll be very happy to know your requests with whom you want us to talk and interact. So write in the comment section and we'll bring the guests to you.